Hi guys, today we're going to be reading chapter 1 of Alan and Naomi. You can follow along on the PDF or in your copy of the book. Alan and Naomi by Myron Leavoy. Chapter 1. Alan Silverman took some tight half swings with the stickball bat, chewing his wad of gum as if it were tobacco. It was growing too dark to see. Alan watched Joe Condello's right hand. Joe had a trick of pitching suddenly without a windup. Alan needed a hit. He hadn't been able to connect all afternoon. He took a few more swings the way DiMaggio did. Then the pitch came down low and outside. Ball, 1-1. That was over, shouted Condello. Over the Bronx, called Sean Kelly, the captain of Allen's team. That was so wide you could drive a Mack truck through it. How about a decent pitch, Condello, huh? Allen called, trying to sound like Sean. But he knew the moment he said it that he actually sounded like Alan Silverman, with that uncertain huh at the end, that half apology. Cars, someone called. Passing cars were an automatic timeout. Alan walked over to the curb with the others and let his mind float. It was Yankee Stadium. He had just rounded the bases and was jogging to the dugout while above him the crowd roared. He had done it. The headlines in the Daily News, the Times, the Mirror, the Post all screamed. Al Silverman breaks Ruth's record. 61st and 62nd home runs in the same game. Yankee fans go wild. Parade down Broadway planned. But the majestic applause in his ears died as the cars passed, and the towering stadium became his apartment building again. The Oak Terrace Arms. 5 stories with neither oaks nor terraces. Just hallways and heavy metal apartment doors painted brown to look like oak, or hickory, or moldy chocolate. The Oak Terrace Arms with its old-fashioned chandelier in the lobby. And Finch, the crankiest superintendent in the USA. The cars were gone. Play ball, Joe Condello shouted. It's getting dark. Alan stepped up to the plate again, knocking imaginary dirt from his shoes with the stickball bat. He crouched, the bat held way back. Joe wound up, looked towards first, and then hesitated. Bach, someone cried. Like hell, the game's over, that's what, Joe shouted. Called on account of darkness. We won. What do you mean? Sean Kelly walked over. We didn't get our licks. You can't win if we don't get our licks. That's just tough, Kelly. When it gets dark, the game's over. That's the rule. Alan threw the bat to the ground as if he were angry, but inside, he was relieved. He hadn't seen the last pitch at all. Joe was being dumb, as usual. The darkness was in his favor. But when Joe Condello decided something, that was that. Alan tried to sound like Sean again. Even if you won, so what? We still beat you the last 3 games in a row. But not by 5 points, Silverman. We won by 5 points. Eat 'em for dinner. Point, 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 point. Eat 'em with your herring. Hey, called Sean. Get that, Al. He can count to 5. I saw a horse who could do that in the Barnum and Bailey. Only thing is, the horse could count to 6. Shut your freaking mouth, Kelly. You and Silverman. Some pair. You Jew lover, you. Get him for that, Alan thought. Even if you can't beat him. Even if... Don't think. Just get him. Joe spit on the ground near Alan, and then he turned and walked away, bouncing the ball high with total contempt. As Alan lunged towards Condello, Sean grabbed Alan's arm and twisted it behind his back and up. Let go of my arm, Sean. Shut up, Sean hissed at him. Condello can kill you. Hey, Condello, don't wet your bed. Nighty-night. Up yours, freakin' Jew lover, Joe called, spitting again. Joe kept right on walking. He was heavier than Sean, but he knew that Sean Kelly was the fastest, trickiest fighter in the neighborhood. Joe had lost too many fights to him, lost them before he could use his weight against Sean, before he could land a solid punch. Alan struggled to free himself. I don't need your help, damn it. Let go, Kelly. You don't need my help? Bull. You're crazy. Forget about Condello. Who cares about him? Besides, I gotta eat. I don't have time for fights. Sean released his grip. Condello was gone. Alan stepped back from Sean to turn his anger into distance. Thanks a lot, he said, rubbing his arm above the elbow. You're welcome. No charge. Alan shook his arm and bent it 3 or 4 times the way a batter does when he's been hit in the elbow with a bad pitch. Then he picked up the bat and cracked it angrily on the sidewalk. Good shot, said Sean. You'll break the bat. They walked silently towards the lobby of the Oak Terrace Arms. Alan pushed the big iron-grilled lobby door, walking ahead of Sean. The door's hinges screeched a tune as it opened, and a slower, sadder one as it closed behind them. It sounded like a baby crying, or an angry cat, or a long-tailed demon. Sean lived on the second floor. Alan's apartment was on the third. Sometimes they stopped to talk for a minute outside of Sean's door before Alan went up the next flight. They paused in the hallway and shuffled. "See you in the morning, I guess," said Alan sullenly. They always walked to junior high together. Alan clicked the stickball bat against the tiled floor of the hallway. There was a slight echo. He clicked faster, trying to overtake the echo. "Joe Condello can turn you into mashed potatoes," said Sean. Alan kept clicking the bat. "You're not too smart, you know? Maybe you're good with school stuff, but you don't know when to lay off. So you're Jewish. So what? I'm Catholic. So you're a Catholic lover. So what? Who cares?" Alan whispered in the echoing hallway. "Your father cares. He doesn't want me to hang around with you." "Well, neither does yours," Sean whispered back. "He doesn't care. Maybe my mother does? A little? I don't know." Alan kept tapping the stickball bat, not looking up. "So what? They don't own us. I do what I want. How about you?" "I do what I want, too." Alan wondered if he really did. "Okay," said Sean, as if that solved it. "Okay. Good night, Jew. Good night, Catholic. Screwball. Jerk. Good night." Alan turned and raced up the next flight. Maybe they really were friends. They never talked about it before, the Jewish Catholic stuff. It felt good. It made Alan want to take 3 steps at a time. He reached his landing and stopped short. There was a girl kneeling near his door, blocking his way. She was tearing a piece of paper into little scraps. It was the new girl in the building, that crazy girl from upstairs. He had seen her rush through the lobby yesterday with her mother. Her eyes were so big, so round with fear that her thin face seemed to be all eyes, like in the movies, the horror films, the fear of the next slightest sound. Only her hands moved, busily tearing the sheet of paper, forming little white flakes all around her, on her dress, on the tiles. Alan remembered how his father had spoken to a puppy once, starving and frightened in front of the house. The puppy had had those same eyes. "Hello? Hello?" Alan said. He took a small step forward and then another. The girl stood up, pressing against the wall. The bits of paper on her dress fell like snow to the floor. "I'm going to my door," Alan said softly, almost in a whisper. "Okay? I live here. Okay?" The girl moved with her back against the wall to the farthest corner. "No, she suddenly called, dropping the sheet of paper that she'd been tearing. Alan remembered his father saying the girl was a war refugee from France. She and her mother were living with the Liebmans upstairs, second cousins or something. The girl called again. No, laissez-moi tranquille." She was staring at the stickball bat. Alan understood only the no, but he decided it was the stickball bat that was frightening her. He laid the sawed-off broomstick on the tiled floor and then rolled it towards his door. The bat whirred along the tiles. The girl kept staring at the bat as if it were a python poised to strike. "She's crazy, all right," Alan thought. "The guys are right. She's really crazy. But maybe she'll listen to me in French." Alan had just started taking French, and he knew only a few phrases, like hello and goodbye and what's your name and how are you. Bonjour? Comment allez-vous? Huh? You know, comment allez-vous? The girl looked wildly from side to side for an escape path. Alan stepped out of the way, and as he did, the girl sprang past him and up the flight of stairs to the floor above. What had he done? What was wrong with saying, "Hello, how are you?" Alan waited a moment, listening. It was absolutely still in the hallway. No door opened or closed on the next floor. She must be waiting in her hallway, too, waiting and listening. Alan walked over very quietly and picked up the piece of torn paper. It was a part of a map of New York City. On it were some meaningless lines in red pencil and a few words in a shaky hand that read, Geheim Staatspolizei. Alan hesitated and then stuffed the paper in his pocket. He went to his door and picked up the stickball bat. It made a slight clatter on the tiles, and instantly he heard a high, wailing voice from the hallway above. Mama, ils sont en bas, mama, mama. Alan felt like he'd heard that voice somewhere before. Its sharp-edged terror cut loose all the shadows, filling the hallway with demons, like the metallic screech of the lobby door. And so in chapter 1, we meet our two main characters, Alan and Naomi. The beginning of the chapter kind of introduces us as well to some of the other kids in the neighborhood, like Alan's friend Sean, Sean Kelly, and his enemy, Joe Condello. Joe Condello is basically everybody's enemy. So we'll get to know these people more as we read. We're just sort of setting the scene right now. So this is the exposition. We know that where it takes place, a little bit about the neighborhood, a little bit about the building where Sean and Alan live, and Naomi. And so we will continue next week and learn more about our characters and the story. Hope you guys enjoyed.